Hi folks, in this particular tutorial we are going to talk about inheritance. In case you are already familiar with inheritance and multiple inheritance, feel free to move forward to the next tutorial. Now, why we are going to learn inheritance? In FastAPI, we will be using pydantic models quite a lot. Pydantic models are used for data validation. The general structure is we inherit from pydantic models and we get all the utilities, all the data validation stubs which pydantic has. In this way, it simplifies building APIs or web apps. For this reason, we are going to study inheritance, specifically multiple inheritance in this particular tutorial. Let me quickly take you to an example so that we can understand it better. See, there is a Python class and I have a FastAPI class which inherits from Python. So all the good, bad or the ugly things, they are all there in FastAPI. Let me quickly show you how. Let me create an instance of FastAPI. So f is an instance of FastAPI. If I print f dot is cool, since FastAPI class is a bare minimum class, it has nothing, literally nothing. So at first glance, it looks like this is going to print none or undefined, anything like that. But if I run it, if I execute this file, you will see that true is being printed. Why? Because FastAPI is inheriting from Python and Python is cool for sure. This is a bare minimum example of inheritance in Python and we are going to use it extensively while building FastAPI based APIs and in the pydantic models. Definitely inheritance was cool, but the main power of inheritance, especially in Python world, it lies in multiple inheritance. I personally use a concept called mixins, which is basically multiple inheritance quite a lot. If you are coming from the Django world, you might have used class-based views. In the class-based views, we inherit from a lot of classes. And that's a very common design pattern that we use while building APIs. Let me give you a quick example of multiple inheritance. See, I have a class called pydantic, which has isValid method. It simply checks if the text that you are passing to this method is valid. If that contains admin keyword, it will return false. I also have one more class called starlet. It is a very simple class. Whatever you give to starlet, it simply returns true. Now let me create a class called FastAPI. FastAPI class, it will inherit from both pydantic and starlet. The only catch is first we are inheriting from pydantic, then we are inheriting from starlet. Now let's not even create an implementation for it. Okay, now I'm going to create a instance of FastAPI class basically, and I'm going to print f dot is valid admin tried to sign in. What do you think, what will be the output of this program? Let's quickly run it. It says false. Why? Because at first FastAPI is inheriting from pydantic. So even though both the parent classes have isValid method, however the first parent class is considered to be the co-parent class in case of class. So since both of them have isValid, there is a class and the very first model is that is pydantic will be picked up. Now this was a very simplistic explanation by me. In reality, that's not always the case. So it's a very good thing to check the MRO of the variable. Let me quickly show you how to print the MRO of a class. So print FastAPI class dot underscore underscore MRO underscore underscore, which is dunder, which is basically a dunder property. Now let's execute this file. It says the very first thing, let's say f variable, if that variable or if that instance is having a is valid method. So the very first thing where we are going to check is the FastAPI class. Once we have checked the FastAPI class, we don't have any matching definition of it. See, we don't have any matching definition of is valid method. So the next thing that we are going to do, we are going to check in the pydantic class. Since pydantic class has got a matching definition of is valid method, so we are going to consider it. This is it for multiple inheritance. Let's meet you in the next tutorial.